High heat and pop-up storms making today a WRAL weather alert day. The threats you could see hour by hour and the relief on the way for the weekend.
A heightened threat environment. That's the warning from Homeland Security about Iran's cyber attacks. We spoke with experts about who is at risk and how to protect yourself.
Then, foster care victory. How North Carolina's new law to protect children stacks up against other states. Why we still have a long way to go.
The heat advisory is officially over in our area, but you could have fooled me. Still feels like 100 degrees at RDU right now. Thank you for joining us at 7 o'clock. I'm Dan Haggerty. The intense heat that we have had over the last couple of days is dying down just a little bit, but Kat, we are staying in the 90s for the next several days.
Every little tick down counts, right? But at least we weren't in the triple digits for the actual temperature today, just the heat index. It's 93 at RDU, the heat index 104. We're in the triple digits for heat indices in Fayetteville, Clinton, Goldsboro right now, and South Hill, a nice 79 degrees. Of course, that is because you got some rain falling in the area with a storm with quite a bit of lightning there, and that includes Carr Lake under the threat for lightning. Not much in the way of storms in our area. We've got one small shower in Moore County right now, northern Granville County, but the bulk of the storms today have been off to our west. We'll continue to monitor these storms on the radar, and you can see the dark clouds in the distance with the wind blowing in South Hill. Most of the severe storms where there's been a level 2 threat for severe storms, we remain under a level 1 risk, so we'll keep an eye on the radar through about sunset. I'll have a closer look at your weekend forecast coming up.
And this is Brian Schrader with some breaking news here at 7 o'clock from the WRAL Live Center. We have confirmed that a Wake County deputy who shot and killed a family's dog earlier this year will remain on the job. You recall this story from April. The deputy was serving a civil process warrant at a home in Raleigh, and a doorbell camera shows the deputy there at the front door. The homeowner, Paige Briggs, said the deputy walked into the unlocked front door. Nobody was home. The sheriff's office says that's when the dog bit the deputy. The deputy then shot and killed the dog, who's named Zelda. Now, a camera recorded him explaining to other officers who arrived at the scene that he thought there had been a break-in, and that's why he entered that home. The Wake County Sheriff's Office issued this statement in the past hour saying, following a thorough review of the surrounding circumstances and after notifying the family of the decision, we have determined that the deputy involved will remain employed. WRAL's Carly Haynes is talking with that homeowner, Paige Briggs. Look for her reporting later tonight on WRAL News.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear their take on that one, Brian. Thank you. Homeland Security is warning of a heightened threat environment in the U.S. related to the conflict in Iran. So this cyber threat map, so cyber threats, it's from Radware. It shows that in the last 24 hours, the U.S. was the second most attacked country in the world. They also found your job may impact whether you are targeted. WRL's Monica Casey explains.
Researchers here at Duke tell us the industry you are in might impact whether hackers related to Iran would target you.
From airspace to cyberspace, whether guns are firing or not, hackers are never on hold.
Ceasefire, no ceasefire, cyber activity will never cease.
Art Ewan is the executive director for Duke's Cybersecurity Masters program. He considers Iran to be a second-tier threat actor in the cyber domain behind first-tier actors like Russia and China.
The Iranians are more, they get access and they start conducting activity. Malicious activity.
He believes Iranian groups would target based on an objective, such as a person in government or someone with access to critical infrastructure.
It's more direct targeting based on an objective that they're looking to accomplish, as opposed to just an ordinary person.
It's not just state-sponsored attacks to worry about, but also hacktivist groups who align ideologically with one side or the other.
Cyber is an equalizer. Cyber is an equalizer for countries that don't have physical capability.
When it comes to protecting yourself, Ewan recommends using multi-factor authentication as much as possible. Reporting in Durham, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Monica, thank you. Let's roll you through some big headlines from today. These are the 5 things you should know right now. We know now that the people found dead at a house fire in Wake County also had gunshot wounds. This was the scene there off of 1010 Road earlier this week. Deputies believe the fire actually was arson. They think it was set on purpose. They found a gun, bullets, casings, pistol magazines, and more inside that house. All of this from a search warrant obtained by WRAL this afternoon. 3 people died at the house. The medical examiner is still working to determine exactly how they died. The Fuquay-Varina man at the center of this viral road rage video has been arrested. Ronald Curran was arrested in a separate case, so it wasn't tied to what you're seeing here. We know, though, that warrants say he told a woman that he wanted to shoot her. The road rage video was taken last Friday on Oak Ridge Duncan Road. Curran swears at a woman in that video riding her bike on the road. He is due back in court next month. The 2 men charged in connection to a shooting at a Raleigh Sheetz appeared in court for the first time today. This happened on New Bern Avenue yesterday afternoon. Bryson Newkirk and Jameer Hinton face multiple assault charges. Today, state lawmakers approved the bill that would require cell phone restrictions in every classroom in North Carolina. The bill is now on Governor Stein's desk. All school boards would need to create some type of policy and consequences for violating those rules. Several school districts have already done this. The bill would push others to take action as well. The plan is coming together for the future of Raleigh's round Holiday Inn building. It'll become the Hotel Indigo. The building will keep that unique shape, but get a $71 million renovation. This will include a complete interior overhaul. They're going to have a new lounge inside, a top floor bar and event space. They say it should be finished by late next year. So, today was a big day for the foster care system in North Carolina. Governor Josh Stein signing the Fostering Care in NC Act. This gives the state more oversight over county DSS offices, creates some tighter procedures for investigating abuse. It sets tougher deadlines for those investigations. North Carolina is also rolling out a new system called Path NC. This helps to link together the 100 county-run offices so they can all communicate, know what each other's doing, and work and do so in real time. These reforms come after a handful of abuse stories. That's Crystal Lane, an 8-year-old who was killed by her grandmother. There have been previous reports of abuse, but the little girl was never removed from the home. And then the Devons, Avante Devon, using aliases, managing to adopt 5 kids from 3 counties. Police say she starved and abused them. Blake and London Devon died from that abuse. The reforms that became law today have been in the works for a long time. The lawmakers who made this happen put a lot of care into this, and today they celebrated that. They stood at the podium, they gave their speeches, the governor signing that bill in front of the cameras, everyone posing for pictures alongside social workers and other elected officials. It was a big old victory lap, and it makes sense. This is a big step forward, but it is just one step in a race that we have been lagging behind for many years. What I mean is, lots of states are ahead of us. They've had this new technology and these reforms for a long time. North Carolina gave the state some more oversight, but we are still one of 9 states where counties run individual DSS offices. The other 41 are state-run or on a hybrid system. Then there's the technology. 18 other states already have a new child welfare information system, either in development or being used right now. And some states take it even a step further. At least 11 states use something called ROM. That stands for Results-Oriented Management in Child Welfare. It's a reporting system developed in the early 2000s. Florida uses a program called Remote Data Capture. Social workers can record date-stamped GPS coordinates for each visit. They can also share photos after visits. Florida has had this since at least 2014. California uses a state-mandated application. It automates case management, service planning, and information gathering, and they've been using that since 1997. With all that said, is North Carolina's new law a success? Yes, it is. Will it help children now and in the future? Yes, it will. Should we celebrate that? Yes, but with the understanding that we are not innovating here. We are catching up. Today, North Carolina worked out a way to get a win, but the work is far from over. We cover this issue at length in a WRAL documentary, Broken. That is on the WRAL YouTube page right now. But after the break, we want to talk about WRAL's newest documentary.
Diagnosis Young. It airs right after this newscast. It follows 3 people diagnosed with cancer at a young age, unpacking how their tumors are different from cancer patients of the past. We've got a preview for you right after the break. Plus, have you seen this crazy video? This is a meteorite streaking through the southern sky. Wait until you see what it did when it landed. And some Duke grads developed new tech to get through security at the airport. Will it speed up the line? Maybe. Could it save your life? Yeah, we'll explain in tonight's One Last Thing. The WRAL documentary airing right after this newscast will get your attention because it affects you. It affects your kids. It will make you think differently about what you buy at the grocery store every week. Doctors in North Carolina are alarmed about new cancer trends in young people, and not just because more young people are getting cancer, which they are. WRAL documentary reporter Kristen Severance spoke to us earlier about what you'll see tonight and what you should take away. Okay, so Kristen, let's start with why you decided to tackle this topic.
Cancer just impacts so many people. My own mother is a breast cancer survivor. Your mother is fighting pancreatic cancer right now. And then last year, 2 of my best friends both diagnosed with breast cancer, one in her early 40s, the other in her 30s. And you start to notice cancer doesn't just happen to older people, and the data is actually backing that up.
Are there specific types of cancers where we're seeing this more?
So colon cancer, uterine cancer, testicular cancer, the rates in people under 50 are all rising. In colon cancer, 1 in 5 people diagnosed with colon cancer are now under 55.
Is there anything different in the way these cancers are affecting younger people as opposed to the older people? Is there anything different about the cancer itself?
I think that is one of the most interesting things I learned, producing this documentary. Doctors say in some cases, the cancer, the tumor is different. So even if someone who is 30 and 80 have the same cancer, the tumor in the 30-year-old is different. And in some cases, that tumor is more aggressive.
Do they know why that is?
Frustrating, probably the most frustrating part, especially for the patients, the people fighting this, no. Doctors don't know, but they are working really hard to figure it out. They're looking at anything from the air we breathe, environmental, microplastics, and food. We get into this a lot in the documentary, the role of food, particularly ultra-processed foods.
I think one really simple way to think of ultra-processed foods is just to go back through where it started. Okay, so it was a potato in the ground, and now it's this sliced, fried, oily chip with a bunch of flavors on it, and it's artificially, naturally flavored. And I don't know, so I'm just gonna eat it, because it tastes great. And that's fine that we do that occasionally, but if it's our mainstay of different meals, it can be a real problem.
We've gone from an environment where you used to eat food that came out of your own garden to an environment where now everything's bought at the grocery store, and a lot of people don't even eat raw foods or vegetables.
One study said 70 to 75% of the food that we eat in the United States is ultra processed.
Now, given the food that so many of us eat, given these statistics, it's going to get people's attention, but you're also using a lot of personal stories to explain how this is affecting people, real people in our community.
Yes, we follow 3 young people, 2 of them in remission, 1 is still fighting. I mean, these people are healthy, active, all of them athletes, and it still happened. And I think, hearing from them will really stick with people.
Doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how healthy you are.
And you're looking around and you're the youngest person by 30, 40 years sometimes.
You think to yourself, what is our common denominator?
The stories are powerful. The research is alarming. But I think people will be able to take something from the documentary and apply it to their lives, and hopefully, make choices that will lead to healthier outcomes for themselves and their family members.
You certainly have my attention with this. I know that a lot of people at home are going to be watching tonight and very interested in what this documentary shows. Kristen, thank you.
You bet.
Again, Diagnosis Young premieres in about 15 minutes right here on WRAL, also on the WRAL YouTube channel. Stick around and check it out. Did you see this today? This video of a meteorite streaking through the sky. This is video from Lexington County, South Carolina. That flash of light that you see appears to be this meteor entering the atmosphere at tremendous speeds. I think the technical term actually is fireball, which I love. The rock appears to have landed in Henry County, Georgia. These are pictures at a home there with that hole in the roof and the ceiling. Emergency officials are now investigating to figure out if this is in fact what was falling from the sky, which I guess, Kat, that homeowner is a mix of unlucky and lucky at the same time.
Yeah, the odds of that happening extremely low at any given house. Most of the fireballs and meteors that we see, they break up before they ever reach the earth and actually reach the ground. So when they go through the atmosphere, they disintegrate a bit. That one, a meteorite, the term, because it did hold together. The reason why it's also called a fireball is just because of how bright the meteor was as it was re-entering the Earth's atmosphere. Out there tonight, we've got some lightning that we're tracking in Sanford, also in Stovall in northern Granville County, up toward Carr Lake. Not as much lightning in that cell anymore, but these storms very isolated on the radar. It is raining in Sanford. You can see the dark clouds in the distance as well. But where it's not raining, it is still hot, and that means most of us are still dealing with the heat is the main concern. 93 at RDU right now, 91 in Apex, Fuquay Marina. Carrie, your sensor has been out for a little bit. Hopefully that'll come back online pretty soon. 90 in Zebulon, 86 in Chapel Hill, where there have been some outflow boundaries from storms to our west that likely helped to cool you down. 74 is the dew point right now. Yesterday, it was in the upper 70s at times. So this is a step in the right direction, but we're still at the top of the muggy meter, and we'll stay that way through the weekend. 95 Friday, Saturday, 96 on Sunday. The heat index forecast between 100 and 105 Friday and Sunday, a little bit lower on Saturday. Some of us may never get into the triple digits for the heat index, and we'll also have the potential for some isolated storms this weekend, but coverage should be similar to what we've got out there today, where it's just a couple of storm cells each day. High pressure still dominating our local forecast, but that is going to weaken and broaden out in the days ahead, and that'll help our heat back off a little bit. Still hot, just not as bad now that we've become accustomed, if you can, to this bitter heat that we've been dealing with. Tomorrow through noon, quiet, but afternoon we start to see some pop-up storms, very spotty on the radar, and those should fade after sunset. Once we get to Saturday, it's much of the same. Dry early on through about noon, and then just a couple of storm cells. The chance for rain will be higher in the mountains than at the coast this weekend. So if you're traveling west, you've got a better chance, a slightly better chance, though still scattered for some rain. At the coast, rain chances 20% or less this weekend. Once we get to next week, the highs finally begin to back off a little bit. It'll still feel like summer outside with highs in the 90s across the board, just not so bad. Lows even dip back into the lower 70s, and storm chances will climb by the middle of the week. By then, I think almost everybody will be ready for more rain to help out the grass in the garden and some lower heat indices.
Absolutely. You said it. Thank you, Kat. An old Hillsboro textile mill is now home to a company building X-ray technology, and this new airport tech can do a whole lot more than scan bags. Your one last thing, right after the break. One last thing to talk about tonight. Imagine this, going through airport security with a bottle of water or that $20 can of hairspray in your carry-on that they made you throw away last time. If you're my age or older, those are called the good old days. Well, there's this new cutting-edge X-ray technology that could bring them back. A local company is working on a new type of baggage scanner that could save you time, make you safer, and keep you from having to buy those $5 bottles of water at Hudson News. Today, WRAL's Heidi Kirk went inside the facility in Hillsboro as it's being developed.
Now, all of that work is happening here at this old textile mill in Hillsboro. Not only is the team here at Quadradocs using X-ray technology to create this, a checked baggage scanner, but they're also using it to create cancer detecting tools.
The main workspace is just one room.
We do all of the design
manufacturing and assembling of our systems here.
But the technology that's being made here is revolutionary.
The X-ray systems that are currently scanning bags and check baggage have been around for almost 20 years now. And so those systems are aging out.
And that's why this team is putting their heads together to find the future of airport security. Co-founder and CEO Joel Greenberg says right now, the focus is on these machines, specifically for scanning checked baggage.
Our technology can help make it so that it's more likely that your bag doesn't get opened, more likely that your bag makes it to you at the end of your journey, and behind the scenes, makes the TSA and the whole process more efficient.
Eventually, he says it could even be implemented at TSA security checkpoints, making it so you could bring a bottle of water through security. In other uses, it could save lives by detecting cancer.
These systems allow us to not just detect potential tumors or lumps, but also tell you with confirmation that it is a malignant cancerous tumor as opposed to a benign tumor.
The research and development that's happening here in this room is one of its kind, changing lives beyond the triangle.
The hope is to start testing this baggage scanner technology in airports next year. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News in Hillsborough.
Thanks to Heidi, and thanks for making WRAL your choice for local news. Have a great night and don't go anywhere. WRAL's newest documentary, Diagnosis Young, starts in just a couple of minutes. Don't miss it.